All right, everybody, we want to welcome everybody to episode number 3 of our Backwoods Fishing Guide podcast. And we got a good show for you guys tonight. But first off, we want to thank all of our great partners that have made this thing possible. We want to thank AA Graphics and Signs, Jill of All Trades Scenery, B&B Custom Outdoors, and Tangle Trout Cabin Rentals. So we want to get that, plug that in there. We're going to talk a little bit more about our sponsors as we go and give a little bit more information on what these guys do for us. So, but we want to start off with introducing these guys to you, those that don't know them. Most everybody knows these guys, but on the far end down there, we've got Jody, Possum, Pressley. And no, he does not sing and sound like George Jones, the Possum. But he's, as we know him, he's the Possum. So he's the striper fishing guru. He's been around a long time. He's been doing this a long time. So, Jody, how long have you been striper fishing, man?
Early 2000s. Yeah, caught my first striper probably on Lanier cut baiting on my cousin over in the back of Little River. Used to be able to drive back there. It was a good little spot whenever you didn't have a boat and you had to get out there. And that's when I was introduced to striper fishing through family, kind of. Yeah, it was good.
So you've been doing this stuff for 20, 25 years, at least. So you was around, I guess, in what I would say the glory days of Lake Lanier. Would you not agree with that?
Right at the beginning, it was one of the best fisheries in the southeast.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't nothing to go out there like we catch fish now. You know, catch 10 or 12, 15 pounders. You may catch several 20 to 25 pounders. Class of fish is definitely, different.
Yeah. So where you got the beginning of that, I probably caught the tail end of that in like, I don't know, from 2008 to 2012, something like that. This fish right here come out of Lanier. This fish right here was caught in Sardis Creek. So, but that was in, I think, 2010 or 2011. So we're going to talk a little bit more. I know that, we do our stuff kind of based around Carter's Lake and Lake Lanier, but these guys, they live right on Lake Lanier, and that's kind of y'all's deal. So we want to talk a little bit more about Lanier as far as the old Lanier, the way things used to be, as a lot of people know, compared to what things are now. So we want to introduce this next guy sitting right here in the pink hat. Is Justin Utterback. And what do you call your guys there? I'd rather be striper fishing. I can't think of anything else I'd rather do than be striper fishing. That's just me.
There ain't nothing quite like a big striper hitting a bait, whether that's blowing up on a shad or hitting top water or free line or downline summertime when all 3-4 rods go off. It's just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Freshwater wise to me.
Yeah.
So I started back in 2015. My buddy Chris Alford, his dad bought a boat, center console, and he let us use his boat, and we didn't know what we were doing. We had a couple free lines out, a couple down lines out, probably the wrong place on the lake at the wrong time, but I caught two 12, 13 pound striper on free line, light spin and tackle, and after that I said, to heck with going to these ponds and trying to catch bass and catfish and that kind of stuff. I was hooked, and as soon as I could buy my own boat, I bought my own boat and started striper fishing. So I haven't been doing it too long. I'm coming up on 9 years now, but so anytime I can get out there and fish with some good fishermen and learn, with some of these older guys, some of the heritage guys. Anytime I get out there and learn a new technique, or take what used to work so good back in the day and kind of blend it with what I know the lake's fishing now, and Lanier's coming back around. We got a lot of pressure, but we've got a good 28 to 32, 33 inch fish class, anywhere from 12 to 16 pounds, especially this time of year when they're feeding heavy for pre-spawn and spawn. I mean, we got some good fish, and it's great for clients to get them.
So you're saying, you're saying it's coming back, and the fish are definitely seem like are better than what they were, say, 5 or 6 years ago, but it's not coming back in the sense of people's catching 30, 40 pound fish like Jody used to. I know occasionally, but it's not has it got back to that point yet, Jody?
No.
To where you could have a chance at a 30, 40 pound striper any day out there.
Yeah.
You could have
Most
that
certainly.
chance. Yeah.
There's still certain chance. Yeah, there's a small pack of them.
But it seemed like a long time ago, man, people were catching fish like that all the time over there.
Yeah.
You know,
That
it just doesn't seem as often. Why do you think that is?
Center consoles, people
Pressure.
fishing pressure has a lot to do with it.
Which there's nothing you can do about that other than to try to encourage people to take care of those big fish. There's no reason, in my opinion, to kill 20, 30 pound fish.
Right.
You know? I mean, even 15 pound fish. I mean, that's our future. Why not try to put somebody on smaller schooling size fish where those numbers are, let them keep some of those versus going out there and killing big fish. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense, but I know all that goes on.
Yeah, especially on a trophy fish. You know, you got a family out there and they catch a trophy fish or something, they're going to want it. I mean, typically, and you're like trying to say, hey, you can turn it back, you know, and it's like, well, it's kind of got a bad, you know, gill hook or something like that, so you kind of throw it in the, you know, cooler and send it on its way, but you know that's a 30-pound fish. Yeah. It's gone.
That's the fine line of you know, you've got a customer paying for a trip and you want to save that fish for it to get bigger and to get to even a better fish, and it's that fine line. You know, we've got to push towards conservation, but at the same time you don't want to necessarily make clients, you know, well, I ain't going back out with that guy because he don't let me keep nothing or what, you know. Well, so it's a fine line, and you've got to encourage them, you know, hey, you wouldn't have this opportunity if that fish, say, was caught 2 or 3 years ago and somebody didn't let it go. You don't have that opportunity to catch that big fish and possibly a bigger one if you don't let it go. You know?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you know, I try to encourage when and I know I've lost trips because of this, but I've told people when they book, we do not keep big stripers on Carter's Lake. You know, we don't have the stocking numbers. I mean, we get 11,000 fish a year. You know, we can't afford to go out there every day and kill 15, 20, 30 pound fish. I mean, we just can't. It's not good business. Even though I want to make customers happy, but it's not good business for me to kill those fish because that's one less that we're going to have a chance at catching down the road. So, you know, I know a lot of it. There is places out there where you need to keep fish, where there's abundant amount of fish. It doesn't hurt to keep fish, but just know the fishery. You know the fishery. Don't go out there and beat up on a fishery that you know is not really stable as it is. You know, we have to try to do our part. We can't control everybody else, but we can do our part, and try to encourage people to turn back. I always tell people, if you want to keep fish, let's go try to find some smaller fish. You know, and those are going to be better eating anyway. You know, or obviously walleye are the best if we can catch them.
They're easier to fillet too.
And in comparison, Lanier gets 250,000 fish.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. You know, and when we're downline fishing in the summertime and 82-degree water temperature, pulling a fish up from 40 foot of water, that's a lot different than going trophy fishing in the spring. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. So
yeah, so we got some guys that's backing us up here. Alex Green, you know, he said you can't get 40s if we kill 30s. I mean, that's just common sense, you know. And Alex is a river guy. He goes up. He's got a jet boat. He goes up in these rivers, and he does most of the artificial stuff. He catches them on glide baits and swim baits and all this different stuff. I've done the Fish North Georgia podcast with him. Great guy. He knows a lot, you know, and he's all for that.
He's got that cool rock proof boat or whatever.
Well, there's no telling how many. Boat. Yeah, exactly. There's no telling how much time he spent up those rivers casting and working to catch those fish. So when you put in that time, you know, it kills us to kill those big fish. I mean, they're trophy fish.
It's a privilege to let them go and just watch them go back off. And, you know, you see the color of the fish is, you know, what it's about. And
know that somebody else has got a chance of catching that fish.
And there's also plenty of places you can go and catch fish in the summertime. When the temperatures are really warm, you can go in cool water refugees and catch big fish, and they've got a great chance to survive. It's, you know.
Yeah. So somebody said they're on the wall, and that is true. Here we are talking about turning fish back. We got 3 up, but I'm gonna say this: of all the fish that I have caught in the last I don't even know how long it's been since we've been striper fishing. What you see is pretty much what I've kept, other than maybe what didn't make it. You know, like what you was talking about earlier. So this fish come out of Lanier. It was the first fish I ever caught over 30 pounds. And I said, when I catch one over 30, I'm gonna have it mounted. You know, there's certain occasions. I had a guy book a trip, and his dad was sick with cancer, and was basically, you know, he didn't have much longer to live. And the guy asked me, he said, look, man, if we catch a big striper, can I have it mounted for my dad? I want to, you know, hang it up in memory of him, you know, if something happened. And I couldn't tell him no. I said, yeah, we'll do it. So he caught a, I don't remember, 18, 20-pound striper. We kept it, had it mounted. 4 months later, his dad passed away. I do not regret doing that. It was for a, and that fish right there come from Tennessee, and that hybrid come out of Carter's Lake. That was the first hybrid that I caught at Carter's. It was over 13 pounds. It was 13 and a half pounds. So on very rare occasions do we keep fish and mount them. I've only eat striper a few times, and the ones I've eaten have been smaller ones. You know, I feel like those are better to eat. You don't have to, when you cut the bloodline out, you're not wasting a ton of meat. You know, would you not agree, Jody? When you clean a 20-pound fish, there's a lot of waste.
Yeah, and it's harder to clean around the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Go
mentioned your goal. I think as all anglers, we have goals set in our head that we're going to catch that 30-pounder. I had that same goal. I mean, I don't just coincidental went and really ever talked about that. And then mine was 40. I didn't get a 40. I got a 45 and a quarter.
Yeah.
So that was it. So
Yeah.
I catch a 50, but every fisherman's got goals, and it's harder for those goals to let go and not just keep one that's 50 pounds. That's your, you know, I know Justin's caught a couple of them and he's let go, but I know that like was kind of probably pretty hard.
It was tough. I got the measurements on my 1 over 50, but it was tough. I mean, you know, to me, you get a good canvas made at Costco, and that's pretty cool
That's
too.
right.
You know,
Take
Yeah.
those
I mean,
primo
Those
pictures.
pictures will last
Yeah,
long.
they do.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
So
and
these,
then
I
the price of mountain one too. Is
It's
hot
high.
dog outrageous
Yeah.
at this
It's
point.
high.
Yeah.
It's high.
So measurements are kind of important. Get the girth, get the length, and you can always get a replica made.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a couple places. I think Gray's Taxidermy, they do a really good job down in close to Miami, Florida. So
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
seen their
Yeah, they're one, yeah.
place down there. And
The
it's-
replicas look, they've come a long ways. I mean,
Yeah.
they do. They look good. Now, Rudy We Hunt, he's from Jasper. He does the fish preserve taxidermist. Russ has had a couple fish mounted by Rudy. Rudy does a great job on these skin mounts. I mean, these fish look just like they did when we pulled them up out of the water. But like I said, you know, I think, you know, on an occasion, you know, trophy fish that, you know, that fish is you're probably not going to catch that fish again. You know, I don't blame somebody for mounting a trophy fish. Now,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have 30 fish hanging on the wall up here, and we don't fill coolers full of fish every day. I just
Right.
don't. I just don't. I can't. I can't afford to.
Yeah.
We don't have the fish to be able to do that. But you know, that's the difference in our fishery and maybe some other fisheries out there. People need to learn the fishery, understand it before you go up there and start killing a bunch of fish. That's just my opinion. So
I think one thing for us on Lanier is we can help when we get customers on the boat and they talk about keeping fish. Make sure they've got a big enough cooler in their car to take the fish home, because a lot of times they'll say, yeah, we want to keep these fish, and then we'll get done with the trip and they'll bring out a cooler this big and they can't even fit the fish in the cooler.
right.
And then
So
it's-
kind of talking to them about that and saying, hey, you know, you keep 1 10-pound striper, that's a good, you know, 3 or 4 meals. I
Yeah.
mean, people don't realize you can get
So-
some good fillets, you know, off of
Well,
one fish.
And I tell you another thing, I'm gonna say this, and we'll move on from the talking about the keeping the stripers. But
Right.
what a lot of people don't understand about stripers in these landlocked lakes is they do not reproduce naturally. So what's stocked is what we got. You know,
Right.
there's a few places where they say nah, maybe there might be some reproduction going on, but for the most part, as far as we know, these lakes, what we have is what's put in there. So it'd be different if, like, there's a lake in Texas, Lake Texoma. Those fish reproduce. The river systems that feed that lake will support it, and they've got they say the fish will come up on top and just acres of fish. We don't have that at Carter's. These two guys next to me can vouch for that. Y'all both, I don't know about Jody, but these two guys have fished enough to know And we got a couple sitting back here too that have fished Carter's enough to know that we don't have that problem. But anyway, we're gonna move on a little bit from that. And Alex said that the one I got this week was only bite in 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days it took him to catch a 47-pounder. But I mean, hey, it's worth it when you get a fish like that.
Well,
I mean,
you don't just pull up out there and it happen over. You know, you can get lucky. But it takes a lot of work to catch these big ones like that.
Oh, this is Russ D's too. We didn't introduce.
Oh,
him.
Yeah. So we done got started talking about the fishing. We done kind of lost track. But for those that don't know, most everybody knows the guy with the Backwoods guy with the beard's got the big beard.
Yeah, but we got a bearded brother today.
Yeah.
We've already got
Yeah.
mistaken from each other over there with
Yeah, can't you tell? We look a lot alike.
Well, that's what actually what Jody calls his fishing, or he's done some guiding and stuff too, is bearded fishing adventures, which I think that suits you perfect. It suits Russ too.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's a bearded brotherhood
We'll
out
have to
there. He's
team
got
up.
beards.
Yeah.
But
So-
I met Jeremy. I mean, just heard from him and whatnot. Met him fishing a tournament trail of the, what was it? I can't remember, NSBA or what was that trail?
What, long time ago?
No,
you
this
talking
past
about
year.
Strike Bass Challenge.
There's so many of them now.
Last year,
SBC.
yeah. Last year.
SBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
that's where I met Russ up
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
I mean, the camaraderie fishing is really neat. You know, you meet so many people and develop relationships
It's a good
outside of
community for sure.
you know work and stuff. It's just good to meet y'all and appreciate y'all having us on the show.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I've known of Jody for a long time through other people and that kind of stuff, and hearing people talk about it. But it was during that tournament trail last year that we kind of got to know each other. And, that's kind of the point of this whole podcast tonight, was to try to get to know you guys more. Now, Justin, I've known Justin probably a little bit longer personally than I have you.
Yeah.
Justin, he's worked for us some, done some trips for us and everything. But, that like I said, that was the thing. We wanted to get to know you guys a little bit more and about y'all's background. How long have you been striper fishing or guiding, Justin?
So when I bought my first boat back in 2016, January 2016, I got a little 18-foot Sea Fox with a 115, and I could have me and 2 people on the boat. And I took some people from church and work and this, that, and the other, and they'd give me some bait and gas money and this, that, and the other. But I officially started my business when I bought my new boat, and I believe it was August of 22. Is when I started actually formed a business, got the insurance license, and started taking people out I didn't know. And the big thing for me was I'd been spending 5 years up in Tennessee chasing that 50 and got it, and decided I needed to stay home and spend a little more time with the family, to be honest with you, not spend so many nights on the river by myself, trying to find that fish. And for me on Lanier, I knew at this point we ain't catching any 40s or 50s. I want to get other people on fish, and I enjoy the chase and figuring it out, and getting a 10-year-old kid on a 14-pound striper is just the coolest thing. They get that fish in the boat and they hold it up, and they're shaking, and dad's happy, taking pictures, FaceTiming mom.
You can't trade that smile for anything.
That's the best, and that doesn't always
like
happen.
pretty good
Sometimes we catch small fish, or we
Sometimes
just get.
we don't catch nothing.
We don't. If we go to Carter, sometimes we don't catch nothing. But
Oh, don't tell me that don't happen at Lanier. I know it happens at Lanier.
spots that.
How many times have you skunked on Lanier?
There's been times.
It's gonna happen.
Lanier's
I can't count
Yeah.
the times that I've been skunked, but I turned that skunk into a mission because I hate getting skunked. And next thing you know, it's dark and your trip's like ready to go home.
They're
I'm
like,
ready.
we're
You know,
done, and
it's
you
like-
don't
You don't
know,
quit.
we ain't giving up.
So
We're
I
getting
mean,
something in the
a lot of
boat.
times, when you get skunked, you can tell a guy that really, pushes a little bit because he wants to put a fish in the boat.
Right. Try
Unless he's
everything,
got to
yeah.
pick the kids up at school or something,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
gonna try.
So Casey said Jody is the man, best
we got a
guy I've
Jody
ever
fan
had.
on here.
So yeah, Jody.
Who's Jody?
Possum.
Awesome, man. Awesome is the man.
Awesome. I didn't know him by his government name.
Yeah, so
Rodney Lanier said, "Hey, from Carabel." That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got somebody
watching from Carabel,
Carabel,
Florida.
Florida. Appreciate
Snapper
you watching there, Rodney.
capital.
So Jody's not only a striper fisherman, but he fishes all over the place. I mean, this cat, he goes. So tell us a little bit about what besides striper fishing, what you've been into. I know you've been venturing out.
Yeah, catch the flats and stuff down in Carabel, and sometimes we get to go out with different people outside of Carabel as far as catching reef fish, snappers, grouper, and stuff like that. This year we kind of caught a 67-pound wahoo in my boat, and it was like it kind of lit another fire under me. So I'm probably ruined for wahoo. So that's kind of my next journey. Where fishing, I'm never satisfied. I want more, I want bigger, and it's just a continuation. I mean, it's kind of like we're having an AA meeting right here, talking about striper fishing addiction. It's kind of a serious thing, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't nothing like it.
Yeah.
It kind of keeps me out of trouble.
It's funny, in June I'll call him, or July I'll say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm riding over to Destin. I'm hopping on so-and-so's boat. We're going out to the...
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. He's
So,
hopping
so
on someone's boat doing something.
I knew from the first time I met Jody, I said, man, he's just a fishy guy. I mean, this guy, honest to God, you could put him out here in this mud hole out here in the parking lot, and he can figure out a way to catch a fish. I mean, that's just how it is. But, so anyway, we got to take a little bit of break here from our striper fishing talk. We're going to jump back into it, but we got to thank all these partners that we've got. We're going to talk a little bit more about each one of them. So, Mr. Andy Rittenberry in Canton, Georgia with AA Graphics and Signs. He's the one that did all these signs here for us and got all this set up, does our shirts, our hats, does a great job. So if you're in the market for anything like that, give Andy a call. AA Graphics and Signs, Canton, Georgia. His number's up there on the sign, and we appreciate Andy and everything he's done for us. So, man, I'll tell you, Jody, you've got a fan base, man. I did not realize. I mean, but you've been around for so long. I mean, these guys know you. A lot of people know you. A lot of guys look up to you. And I've been excited about this show to get you in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep picking your brain. We're gonna dig in a little bit deeper and see if we can't get some knowledge, some old knowledge out of that head. So tell me this, and I'm gonna talk to Russ too. I ain't leaving Russ out. I know he's just
Russ
sitting
is here.
That's right.
but we're gonna get back to Russ too. So Jody, tell you've been fishing some now, and you fished a little slot on top. What's the biggest thing that you've noticed now, the difference in the striper fishing at Lake Lanier now compared to what it was in the glory days?
Well,
As far as how you go about
it goes back to bait.
Right.
I didn't know what a blueback herring was. It was never in existence on Lanier. We always caught our own bait. I mean, generally gizzard shed, Hammond's, down there and coming. They're really, catch them right, and they got some good gizzard shed and whatnot, but there's so many people fishing for them, it seems like we can't even keep up with bait now, so you got to kind of do your own. But the fishing, was different. And then bluebacks was kind of introduced on Lake Lanier. I forget what years, I can't remember yesterday, but then you seen a difference. I couldn't get off of the gizzard shed bite. Other people I noticed was talking, catching, getting on schools catching a lot of fish. And I'm sitting
you're over there pulling big baits and not getting nothing.
catching big fish where everybody else was getting into it.
Okay.
And they was using the bluebacks, and they was catching more of the schoolie fish and smaller fish because schoolies, of course, couldn't get the big gizzards in their mouth, and I just kept pulling. And then people was wanting to guide, and I wasn't, catching but big fish. People was just wanting to go catch fish. So that's where I got off of that and started using smaller bait on Lake Lanier and started, catching schoolies, catching, smaller fish, and you would catch an abundance of a lot more. So it was a lot more entertaining for people than to just sit out there. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days, like Alex, I believe, made a comment earlier, to catch that stud of a fish. So it ain't a matter of just fishing and throwing a hook out and catching a small striper, 12 to 15 pounds. But I mean, you get out there and you fish, and you may go 3 days without a bite, and you just feel like you're a terrible fisherman.
The life just sucked out of
It does. So I mean, it's but generally the bait issue, which is I think has been a good issue. Having more smaller fish to be caught rather than struggling out there all day.
Do you,
for a good bite.
in what ways do you feel like the bluebacks really affected Lake Lanier when they come on? I mean, did it change the water clarity? Did it just simply change the way the fish were and the way you had to fish for them?
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I mean, I don't know everything about it, but over the years, you kind of developed a routine, and they used to be like on a certain routine and back in the day, but that routine's changed since these smaller fish and the groups of them's just, it's a lot different than it was 15 years ago.
Yeah. So, yeah. Somebody said I was the best scout on Carter's Lake, but I'm gonna tell you what. After today, I did not feel like the best scout on Carter's Lake. I mean, I got my butt kicked today. But now, we're gonna get up tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. So, all right, I've got to hit this topic. This was the only topic that I really didn't want to bring up, but I've got to. I can't avoid it, and that's West Point. Because I figure somebody's gonna get on here and say, "What happened at West Point?" Well. Bottom line is this. I'm just gonna put it out there just like it is. I ain't gonna lie about it. All right. All right. We've been busy. I mean, I've been guiding. Russ has been working his job. Everybody's been working, and we really just didn't have the time to be able to go down there and spend to figure it out, to know exactly where we needed to be. We went blind. I mean, we just went down there Saturday morning and just fished.
Sometimes it works. So.
Sometimes that works out, but it didn't work out for us. It didn't work out for us. Those other guys struggled too.
There were some locals that had.
There was some good fish caught.
That had trouble too. So.
Yeah, there was local guys I'm sure that struggled. I mean, it's just the way it is.
That cold front, blew through and.
That was wasn't that some Lanier boys that won that down there at West Point?
Yeah,
it was.
That was some old boys from Lanier.
Well,
they're good fishermen.
Matter of fact, I'm just gonna put this out there too. The Lanier boys has been kicking everybody's butt this year in that trail. Y'all did great last year. I mean, y'all was up there. Yeah. We had a couple good runs. We were competitive, but we never did win any. But yeah, man, Sean Simpson and Randy Dover, man, they've been hot. I mean, congrats to them guys. They won Team of the Year, and if we couldn't win it, at least some of our guys in this area won it. Lionel, Clinton, and them, man, they've been on good too. So somebody said after the bluebacks, the stripers stay deep to feed in the summer. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same way at Carter's when the LYs has come on. I say 80-90% of the time we catch our fish on downlines. Mm-hmm. Really, if you think about it, because everything's deeper. Yeah. But it's not blueback herring. Let's make that clear. It's not blueback herring. I want to throw something else out there. Blueback herring are illegal in Carter's Lake. You cannot buy a blueback herring and bring to Carter's Lake, or you will get fined. They have been checking, have they not, Lynn?
Yeah, they have.
So
you could tell the difference. I mean, because we use bluebacks all the time on Lanier. The LYs distinctly to me have a lot bigger of an eye. They almost look like if you were to drop a blueback really, really deep and reel it up and it get the blowed out eyes. Yeah. So they definitely look different. I mean, it's a different bait
now,
fish for
whether
sure.
they affect the lake different, I'm not sure of that. I can't, they're still in the herring family, so I feel like the LYs probably stayed even deeper than bluebacks do. Now, considering Carter's is a deeper lake on top of that, but Jeff said they used to feed the threadfin topwater in the summer. I mean, hey, look, that's the thing. We used to have a topwater bite at Carter's. There was times where you could go out there with plugs and catch them during the daytime, certain times of the year. That's like a thing of the past. Is it not? Lynn's over there shaking his head. Yeah.
You won't catch them on top.
The
You
last
hardly
couple
ever
years
catch them on top water.
Lanier, the top water's kind of sucks too.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to that bait being deeper most of the time, just like what he said.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Altoona. Okay, that was a question I had a couple years ago. Mike, the herring bite. They introduced herring and made it legal where you could fish with them Altoona. I was just kind of curious. I hadn't been over there to check that bite out with bluebacks. Have y'all?
So
No.
some people say they're LYs and some people say they're
They're
bluebacks.
both. That's
and
what
some
he's
people
saying.
say they're both. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Are
We
they
went
really
out
both?
we went out one morning and caught bait and fished down there last year, And I mean, we loaded the tank, and there was some big ones in there. But
Right.
You can tell, like you said, you can tell the difference when you look at them. It may take somebody that's not handling them that much a little longer, but
Right.
when you're out there fishing, you can, you
You
may
tell the
pull them up
difference,
in the
yeah.
net. Once you see what's going on, you know what you got. But
Yeah, Alatuna's fishing good. They're
Oh,
they're
yeah.
producing some big fish right now.
I'm gonna get back down there
It's-
this year.
So-
I think there'll be a 40 out of there within the next year.
So what I was fixing to say, and Mike still beat me to it. He said they're both herring are in there, the LYs and the bluebacks. So yes, it is legal now to fish blueback herring on Altoona,
Yes.
but nobody can explain why the LYs are in Altoona. I mean, common sense tells me people's been coming up here and catching them and taking them back down there. Now they've got all mixed in. It's just, I think, my personal opinion is, use what you catch out of that lake. And if you want to keep those baits and fish with them the next day or the next day, that's fine. But going to the lakes and catching this bait and that bait and mixing them all up and going and dumping them in another lake, it's not good for the lake.
No.
And it can potentially get you fined. So it's just not worth it, I think what's there in that lake is what's going to be the best bait to use for them
Naturally.
fish naturally anyway. So why get it all screwed up? It doesn't make any sense. But Mark Crawford, man, I hadn't heard from him in a long time, and yeah, we'll probably see you in Hartwell in January. That's a long time between now and then, but we I don't know about Joe. Are y'all going to? So y'all kind of took a break on the striper tournaments this year. Why? Tell us a little bit why that is. What
Quit
happened?
looking.
What happened?
Sometimes
Where are you
work gets kind of busy. Yeah. Been
It-
working.
It takes
You know?
takes a lot. Everybody that fishes these tournaments know how much time it takes. Not just fishing, but getting the right bait and pre-fishing and time away from families. And I got
Yeah.
two youngsters at the house.
Yeah.
Jody's got a youngster too. It's just a lot, and trying to work, full time, guide part time, and it's just a lot, And you just got to pick what you want to do, right, and where you want to spend your time and money and. Just this year didn't make sense for us. Maybe next year, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it was kind of the thing last year for both of us was like, hey, let's fish that tournament just to kind of have some competition. We got out there, next thing you know, we're doing all right, and catch some
You got
fish.
roped in.
Yeah, and it was, it was a good time. I wouldn't take nothing for it, but it does consist of a lot of work.
A lot of time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
To do it right, I mean,
Yeah.
you can go wing it, and that's fine.
I
But
mean,
if
I
you
mean-
want to be competitive, you got to have good bait and pre-fish and get a hotel and do the whole 9 yards if you want to be competitive.
Yeah,
with
if you
it.
don't, somebody else is going to, and then you're
Yeah.
behind. That's
Right.
my whole thing about it is, I know there's some bass tournaments that, they have limits on the, they have a cutoff. They won't let people fish that lake, maybe say a week before the tournament. Before that's fair game. That kind of puts everybody a little bit more on an equal playing field because you don't have guys going over there, pre-fishing for 2 weeks where other people don't have that luxury of doing that. So it kind of equals. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I kind of like that. Would have allowed more people to fish it or encourage more people to fish it because they wouldn't feel like if people feel like I'm already at a disadvantage because so and so has been over there for 2 weeks.
Right.
They're just not going to sign up. So
The other
Right.
thing is a lot of
hey, I say,
There's always a chance.
guys are not gonna like
Gotta be
this.
out
Guys are not gonna like this, but I say,
Yeah.
cut it off. No pre-fishing the week of the tournament.
The other
Yeah.
thing is, March, April, May, I mean, that's our prime time for running trips and making money. And if you're spending 2 or 3 days pre-fishing and fishing the tournament, that's 4 days you might be making money.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I mean, unless you have a, some $10,000 or $20,000 payout, if it's only $5,000 or whatever,
It's
by
not
the,
just that. If it's third place, it's $1,000. It's like,
you ain't coming out. You might break even.
you need
Yeah.
to win.
So that's
you
the
need
problem
to win
I've-
and get big fish to even make it worth your
That's the
while.
problem I've got with it, but hey, that's just kind of the nature of it. I mean, the guys with the Striped Bass Challenge, Tommy and those guys, they've done a great job, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's
Well,
done
it's a
for a
well-run
great.
tournament, yeah.
It's done for even a better cause, but I'm just saying, you know, there's maybe things that could be done that could make it even better and grow it back to what it was. What was it? I can't. The NS. What was it?
NSBA.
NSBA back when
Yeah,
it was
Warren
that.
Turner. I think he was at
He was
that
one
time.
of. Man, I tell you, I remember there'd be 100 boats in that thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, $20,000 payout.
Well, yeah. Well, like Hartwell this year, I think Crawford mentioned that there was a really good turnout. I forget, pushing 100 boats.
100 boats, yeah.
You know, if you get 100 boats in a tournament and everybody shows up, man, you get to see some nice fish come.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody's covering.
Yeah,
That part of it.
I wish
Yeah.
they'd bring it to Lanier though. I think Lanier would be a good turnout on Lanier. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, I've heard talk of that, so maybe we'll see something. So
Yeah.
all right, we're already 30 minutes, a little over 30 minutes into this thing, but Jody's his fan base just keeps rolling in, man. It's just unbelievable the amount of support for possum. But yeah, what's up, Jody and
What's up,
Justin?
Jacob Watson?
Yeah, me and Russ, we're not even
Let's
here.
get that rock proof going, buddy.
So look, I wanna talk a little bit about this guy right here next to me, the guy with the big beard. He don't say a whole lot. He's quiet, okay? We gotta kind of pry it out of him, but you know. So tell everybody a little bit about what you've been doing. Have you been fishing some or what?
We've been fishing some. We of course went down to West Point. And
That wasn't fishing. Well, that was fishing.
Oh, it
That
was fishing.
It
We
was
fished
fishing.
hard.
Yeah, we
I
fished
bet.
hard.
We fished hard.
We just didn't catch nothing.
No. Just working a little bit, trying to build up, get a little bit of savings so we can get out and chase some of these bigger ones.
Yeah. So Russ
Getting
is
primed up.
Yeah, Russ, he come on board with us a couple years ago. You know, me and Lynn, we've been working. Me and Lynn are both full time. We've been working together, trying to stay booked up. Russ he's got his other business going, and he has to keep that going to fall back on.
Yep.
So I
So
know
I'm
you're
still a part timer.
still a part timer,
Yeah.
but you're not a rookie by any
Nah,
means. I mean,
nah.
you've put in your time. And you've had your heartbreaks like I had today.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you've
we
had the
one
time.
other last weekend.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
one thing
just-
that I tell customers, and me and Shannon talked about not long ago, is the highs and lows of fishing. And I think anybody that's done it long enough knows. You know, I mean, you can be on rock bottom. I mean, like Jody was talking about, go 3 days and not catch a fish. I mean, it'll just about take it out of it. I mean, it'll almost make you want to. You got to have.
or it makes you want it more.
Yeah, well, it makes me want it more, but
Be
it's still.
revenge.
Yeah, but it takes a special kind of person to keep
Yeah.
going and going and going and going, no matter what the outcome is, you know. But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what it takes. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you feel like if there's ever a time where you feel like, man, it's just I just can't put it together. Everybody's been there. I promise you. I was there today. I went all over the lake and just could not put anything together. You know, Lynn's been there. All these guys have been there. So that's just part of it. So, yeah, we appreciate all these guys that's coming on here. Mark Crawford, Keith McKinnon, and Jeff, and all these guys. We appreciate all y'all's support. And I want to mention another one of our sponsors, and the next one would be Jill of All Trades Scenery. Miss Shannon Black, which was on our first episode, she fishes tournaments with us and stuff. And we got her sign put up today right here. It looks great, but Shannon's really the one behind this whole backdrop. I think my buddy Nick Martin said he was bragging about the backdrop. Shannon's the one behind all that. She's the one that done all this, made it all look good. She can do anything like that you want. She can take care of. So Jill of All Trades Scenery. If you want anything like that done, get in contact with her. We appreciate her. So. My old buddy Chase Plott. Enjoy watching the show. Keep up the good work. We appreciate your support, Chase. And yeah, scroll down right there. That's called a competitor. Golf, fishing, racing. The will to win. You either have it or you don't. Well,
That's it.
I don't play. I've never played golf.
Yeah, I'm not allowed. First time I played golf, it wasn't really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I quit.
Yeah, I ain't even been brave enough to try it, so you've done better than I have. But now the fishing and the racing, now I've done both of that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that is the competitive side of me. I mean, it just, you know, that's what keeps us going. And I mean, even though, you know, we're all friends and everything, and we all work together. There's still a competitiveness between us as far as like, would you not say, Russ? When me and you and Lynn's out there, even though we want us all to do good, at
We're
the
all
end of the
working
day,
together, but somebody's got to win.
well, somebody's got to do a little bit
Somebody's
better
gotta win.
that day.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, there's some group thread text messages where we all talk
Oh,
a little
yeah.
smack, and
Yeah.
somebody gets a good one and try to rub it in, or somebody gets a small one and
You rub it
we
in.
rub it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that's just
For sure.
you just can't help that. That's just part of it. We want everybody wants to be able to to do better than the one before.
and
So,
that's what makes it fun. If it was easy, we'd go out there and get our limit every time. It wouldn't be fun. The challenge of figuring out the fish and getting customers on fish and making people happy. I mean, that's what drives.
that's what
us,
keeps
right?
you going. Yeah, that's what keeps you going. So
For sure.
yeah, so I want to give everybody a little bit of a report on Carter's Lake and kind of what we've been seeing, what we've been dealing with out there. So I'll put it out there to you as honest as I know to put it. Most days have been good fishing, but we've had certain days that the conditions just hadn't lined up, whether it be bluebird skies or they're not generating water or they are generating water. There's just a lot of factors involved. There's not one certain thing that's going to make these fish bite or not bite. A lot of times it's a lot of different things that have to line up for it to be that perfect bite. Would y'all not agree with that? I mean, especially on
yeah.
Carter's Lake. I mean, man, I'll tell you, and I ain't saying it just because I fish here, but it's probably one of the toughest lakes that you'll ever fish anywhere. I mean, I've went other places and not had nowhere near as hard time catching fish as I do at Carter sometimes. And I fish it every day, and I still, get my butt kicked up there. It's just how it is. Yeah. So, but we appreciate everybody that has tuned in right here. Whitney Black. I want to thank everybody that's come on here and watched and tuned in with us. So let's talk a little bit about what we got coming up. We're going to start kind of trying to wrap this thing up. And let's talk a little bit about what we got coming up. So we're going to be going to, I heard you say you was going to Tennessee tomorrow. Where are you looking at?
Oh, these two. These two.
Yeah.
Y'all are going tomorrow?
Yeah.
Without me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with them.
Shannon's gonna hop on
I've got a trip.
Well, this guy's got a trip too.
Well, yeah, but I have to come home after my
Yeah.
trip. I got stuff.
I'm gonna trip and then fun fish.
Oh.
Try to get a good one in the boat.
He's gonna put me on the big one tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm a
I don't knock you
guy
out of the
rusted
boat.
big fish.
I don't know, man. Shannon will be tussling back here.
One thing before we wrap up, everybody, good luck tomorrow at Maggie's.
Oh, yeah, the Maggie turn.
Fishing for fertility. Hope everybody stays safe and some good fish get caught and everybody has fun and they raise a lot of money. Raffle tickets and just a great day on the water. So, but I'll be on Carter's running trip for Jeremy. So.
Yeah, so we wish everybody good luck for the Maggie tournament. I fished it in years past. It's for a great cause. We've always had a lot of fun, but unfortunately right now I've got to take the guaranteed paycheck and do what I got to do to make money right now. So, but Justin, you got a fan base on here too, man. I'm telling you, these guys have come out of the woodworks now to support y'all. These Lanier guys they're serious now.
These are all riffraff, just riffraff.
I want to mention something today. I was out on the lake, on Lake Lanier. The wind's been really whipping.
Oh,
It's got oak trees that's 25 to 30 foot long, whole ones floating in the middle of the lake, and it's rippling with this wind. And you can't see them, so just be cautious and maybe put the kill switch on right now with this wind and everything, because it's
wear your
dangerous.
life jacket.
It's rough out there right now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good information because there ain't no fish worth tearing your prop off the boat.
No, and we about tore one up, and I just wanted to give people a heads up, just kind of a reminder if y'all are watching and are fishing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or trolling motors.
Trolling motors.
How's
yeah.
that need?
We're already past West Point. We're not talking about that.
How's that need?
We're done with that. We're done with West Point. But
I didn't hear you had a little mishap on West Point.
yeah, I about tore my trolling motor off. Sure did. Sure did. Yeah, sure did. And then I was trying to get up to the trolling motor. I fell and busted my knee.
Oh, it was a mess.
So then my knee was throbbing the whole time. And then we couldn't catch. It was just one of them days, man. I don't know what else to say.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It was just one of them days where I'm like,
Yeah.
man, is it 3:00 yet? I'm just, God.
Yeah, you mentioned mishaps. bloopers. We all probably have them every trip, but
Oh, yeah.
Fishing tournaments, you put kind of overkill. I'm gonna say overkill, but you got to. You may put 2 bait tanks in your boat where you used to running one.
Mm-hmm.
You will have axle problems,
Yeah.
maybe from time to time. So be.
This man's talking from experience. Who knows?
Yeah, and you'll have good friends that let you stay
Yeah.
at the Airbnb up on Lake Cherokee when you
Yeah.
lose a wheel on the way
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah. Well, those are just all kinds of. When you stay on the road, wear and tear on all this stuff, man, this stuff goes wrong. I mean, it seems to always go wrong at the worst possible
oh
time.
yeah, it's not
It's
close
like
to the
that.
house. It's
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Long
3 o'clock in the
distance trip,
morning
yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere.
So we're getting geared up here in is it 2? No, it's just a week. We're just a little over a week away till we leave to go to Tennessee for our trip, and so I'm gonna be up there. I got some other guys coming up that's gonna fish first part of the week, and then the last part of the week, me and Russ and Shannon and Ty and everybody, we're gonna all fish, do a little filming, and hopefully, I hope we're going for a 40-50 pound fish. So I hope we'll accomplish that and be able to get that on video to share with you guys. So that's our goal anyway. But
Good luck.
as you know, in fishing, there is no guarantee.
That's right.
There's no guarantee. I tell people all the time, they'll say, "Do you guarantee fish?" You don't know what I tell them? What would you tell them, Jody?
Yeah. I'll guarantee them a fish if they're willing to stay out long enough.
right.
Yeah.
If there's no time.
All right, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Can you guarantee me a fish in a 5 or 6 hour trip?
Not every time.
No. That's what I'm saying.
No, you're gonna have trips that you feel like you can't get a fish, and then and there's a lot of pressure at that point that for me as an individual, if I'm out there and I'm pressed to get a fish, that first fish that you catch, and hopefully it's a decent one, this kind of relieves a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, and I feel like once you get that one fish, then you can start working from that.
Gears start rolling.
The gears start rolling,
Yeah.
you start catching another fish. Positivity is a big thing fishing too.
Oh yeah.
You got to know
For
you're going
sure.
to catch a fish. If
Yeah.
you don't know you're going to catch a fish and you doubt it, you typically won't.
Yeah.
That's like my trip on Lanier this morning. We hit a dock light, got a striper in the boat, first cast on a dock light, and all's
That's
good.
it.
We're just gonna roll.
Yeah.
We just
Did
build
it keep
off of
rolling, or did y'all have a
that.
good
Yeah,
day?
we had a decent day. I mean, we got a 43 pound flathead and 2 other stripers, both over 30 inches. So
Yeah.
a couple white bass. So it was a good day. It wasn't great, but it was
Just catching them on crickets and brim.
we
wasn't it?
were freelining crickets and
Free lining crickets. Oh my
you know,
god.
right off the back of the boat.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
it's like
Some locusts
Had
from
to-
the
I
cliffs other
I
night.
had 2 thumpers on freelining crickets.
Yeah.
the tournament fishermen's coming out in y'all big time, man. We got to get off here now. Y'all are starting to get off.
Oh,
We
yeah.
started telling our secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple guys that have come in here from the Oakwood Striper Club and the Lanier Striper Club. We want to give them guys a shout out.
Yeah.
And let everybody know that's how I got my start. I still got my little trophy right here. It's 3rd place, but it's Oakwood Striper Club. I'm proud of it. I
Yeah.
worked hard that year for that 3rd place. So if you're new to striper fishing and you want to learn and you want to get in a good striper club, the Lanier Striper Club and the Oakwood Striper Club are both great. Thank Boomer and Tom Becker, Keith McKinnon, all those guys that are in that club. They do a great job. So we encourage everybody to check that out. So, all right, I got a couple more things I got to get to, y'all, and we'll start. We're gonna start wrapping this thing up. Keep it under an hour, but I wanna throw this out there on our sponsorships. Okay, B&B Custom Outdoors. You may or may not know this guy. We don't have his sign up here yet, but Brian Avery, he lives over here towards Calhoun. He built some custom striper rods for me. Did exactly what I wanted, put my logo on them. I mean, they're lightweight, but they're still a heavy action rod where you can pull those planer boards. I mean, they do a great job. And
We caught some big fish off of them.
we caught some big fish on those B&B Custom Outdoor rods. Even though Brian was unfamiliar with striper fishing, he made exactly what we told him we needed, and we put it to work, and they've done good. They're really nice, and he can do any kind of fishing rod. I mean, he can do casting, any kind of weight, anything you want. So y'all go check him out, Brian with B&B Custom Outdoors, And we also want to give a shout out to Tangled Trout Cabin Rentals, up above Blue Ridge in Epworth, Georgia. So if you're coming into town to fish with us and to book a trip and you want a place to stay, check those guys out at Tangled Trout Cabin Rentals, and I'm going to get their link to their Airbnb on the site there on everything as quick as I can. So y'all go check those guys out. All right, so final thoughts, guys. We've chatted, and I'm gonna tell y'all, man, I've had a great time. I really have. I've had a good time with y'all talking fishing, and I hope y'all will come back and do this with us again, because I just feel like I've just barely broke the ice on Jody.
Oh, come on now.
He's got so much knowledge over there that he won't let it. He just won't let it go. But I understand. I mean, hey, when you work, when it takes years to learn the things you've learned, you don't want to just tell everybody everything. You got to make people work for it a little bit.
You gotta slowly peel back the onion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What?
Go ahead. What was you gonna say?
Huh? I don't know. I don't know sometimes. This is kind of getting me here. This it anyhow.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We're having too much. This is fun.
We've had a good time. So, Russ, come on now, man. You got to say something.
What
We're
do you
already
want
at
me
the
to
end of this thing.
Russ, what you got
Final
going on?
thoughts?
What are we gonna do tomorrow? What are we gonna catch? What are we gonna?
I'm hoping you take me up there, put me on a big
I got some
fish.
premium gizzard shad I bought from
Some mangos.
Sherry's Bait and Tackle.
All right.
We're gonna go up in Tennessee after my trip on Carter's and see if we can get us a good one or two in the boat. And Shannon's gonna join us, and that'll be cool. I haven't got to fish with Shannon, so she'll get on Leona, and we'll go run up in some Tennessee river water. So it'll be fun.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. So I know I kind of just touched on our Carter's Lake fishing report. I didn't really get into it a whole lot, but the water temp up there right now is still hanging around 59 and 60, which I feel like is kind of on the colder side for this time of the year. Normally we're already starting to trend mid 60s, you know.
Yeah,
And,
it feels like it's gonna be a little later.
We're a little behind. You
Yeah.
know, we're a little bit behind, but like I said, most days the fishing has been good. I mean, you know, for Carter's Lake. When I say good, you know, realistically, Russ can back me up on this, but if you go up there and catch, you know, 5 or 6 big fish in a trip, that's a good
That's
day.
a very good.
That's a good
Yeah.
day at Carter's. Now, I'm not saying you might not catch spots and hybrid and a walleye or whatever, but as far as stripers go, if you go up there and catch 4, 5, 6 big stripers, that's a good day. So most days we've been able to do that, but not every day. Like I said, we've had days where, you know, the conditions didn't line up. But what fish that we have been catching, it's been the typical springtime stuff. I mean, planer boards, flat lines, you know, mixing in some split shots and stuff. Still a variety of baits.
Which
you
is
know.
key with that wind, you know, get those, especially smaller baits, you know, put a little split shot, get that bait down so it's not flopping on the top of the water.
Yeah, don't be scared to
Basically
put a
dying.
split shot on a bait behind a planer board. I do it all the
Right,
time.
yeah.
Even a big shad.
Right.
I'll put a big split shot on it, you know,
Get
just to
it
help
down
keep
a
that
little
thing
bit,
down
yeah.
a little bit, you know.
So
So
it ain't, yeah.
yeah, so I
Surfing
mean,
with the wind.
it's straight. At the end of the day, it's striper fishing. You got to get out there, put the spread out, mix it up, change it up throughout the day, see what's happening, try to key in on it for that day, because as these guys will tell you, every day is a little bit different. So, you know, there's not a certain thing that you're going to do striper fishing every single day that's going to work, you know, or a certain location. You got to be willing to. Do y'all feel like those fish at Lanier, do they move a lot more now since the bluebacks, or no?
Yeah. I think they-
So back in the day when you was
think-
shad
yeah.
fishing, when you was fishing gizzard shad, threadfin shad, the fish didn't move as much, did they?
Typically, no. They would kind of stay in a little group in a creek,
in a vicinity, yeah.
in a bay or something like that. Now it seems like the fish go, come, leave more rapid with different school sizes.
Yeah.
You know, that's seems typical for them.
Yeah.
You know, but they, you know, touch on artificial a little bit sometime. You know, red fin bites. You know,
Is that
People-
still good over there at night? and stuff?
people overlook it, and at night, you know, if you get out, don't be bashful to not pull a live bait.
Yeah.
Throw some artificials up on the bank, some Cordell redfin, stuff like that, a good swim bait.
Yeah.
You know, they're a rockfish for a reason. If you throw close to rocks, in a river system, anything that's going that way, Flat Creek, the rocks in the back of Flat, different areas like that. I mean, the redfins are pretty good this time of year for another few weeks
Yeah.
or month,
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, Carter's, man, it's been kind of weird. The fish were really on those clay banks and clay points for a couple weeks there. Now it seems like that's changed a little bit. We've been catching some fish out in open water, which usually doesn't happen until the water warms up a little bit more, but it's already starting to happen. I mean, you'll be pulling out in the middle and want to take off. Tom Becker said something about you had the speakers as loud as they would go. Oh my God.
Oh, we went down there fishing,
You ran Tom's boat?
and he had a 25-foot or 24-foot
Sportsman.
sportsman,
Yeah.
and he's a good one now.
Yeah.
He gets after it too. Now he's a
So-
heck of a fisherman.
Yeah.
He's semi-pro pickleball player. I
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that.
Tom-
Semi-pro. Yeah.
Tom Becker's a great
Every
guy.
time I talk to him, I'm playing pickleball, Justin. I'll call you back.
Yeah. So as long as Tom can stay in the boat, he's good.
Oh,
He's good. So I give him a hard time about that every time. But yeah, he got thrown out of the boat
that
one
one goes
morning.
back to the kill switch. That's kind
Yeah.
of a reminder.
Yeah, that's
When I
exactly
talked to Tom, he
Yeah, wear that. If they stuff floating on the lake or you're running the lake at night, put that kill switch on in case something goes wrong. I mean, that's people don't realize how quick things can happen on the water.
until it happens
Right.
and something actually does happen.
Yeah.
You don't learn. I'm a slow learner. I mean, it don't dawn on me until something happens. So I mean, that's the way I've learned. Had this piece of styrofoam. Luckily it just glanced it and it slung somebody out of the boat at night. Running a spotlight, I just overlooked it. Next thing you know, my boat's airborne sideways.
Yeah,
I could have lost a passenger.
I hit a dock float going up the hooch one morning. It about scared me to death. One of the closest calls I ever had because it hit the dock float. It come up and the way the boat landed, it landed kind of sideways and almost rolled. I mean, it was.
It makes you think.
Oh yeah, I sat there for about 10 or 15 minutes after that.
Yeah.
And Brandon's like, "Are we gonna go fish?" I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, in a minute. Give me just a
You have
minute."
to clean them drawers out a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta clean my drawers out. So, but all right. So we're gonna wrap this thing up. So I know we couldn't get much out of Russ tonight, man. We've been prying him. So third time's a charm. We'll get him on here the next time. So y'all remember to tune in on our next podcast. We got a break because we're going out of town here next week. But May 10th, we'll have John Dalton on here. I know some of you guys probably don't know John Dalton, but he's a big time fisherman, kayak fisherman, bank fisherman. He's really popular on YouTube, Creek Fishing Adventures. So we're gonna have him on here May 10th. Me and him's gonna fish together that morning and then do the podcast that night. So that's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to that. So I want to thank everybody, Joseph, everybody that's tuned in and to our show. We appreciate all the support, and it's been fun, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I know you mentioned artificial, but we're out of time, and I got some artificial guys coming. I'm working on that. I got Alex Green, he's coming, and Terry, Jersey Cat. We're gonna get Jersey Cat on here too. I'm working on him too. So they're the artificial guys. I want to learn from these guys. Hey, I've been doing this a long time, but I learned from you guys. I mean, it's that's the thing about our network and being able to work together, trust these guys and talk to them. We can all learn and feed off each other.
Yeah.
So it's it pays to be able. I know some people don't want to talk to nobody, but I'm gonna tell you something. There's gonna be times that you gonna want to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what are you seeing over there? What's going on over
That's
there? I'm
right.
struggling."
What's happening?
And it helps to have somebody that'll talk to you a little bit. And I understand, somebody's not going to tell you everything, but any kind of information or any kind of report's better than nothing, right, Jody?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, thanks, Mark. We're gonna get off here, and we got to get to bed. I got a trip. Justin's got a trip. And I don't know what Jody's doing. They're gonna go play tomorrow evening. So
I'm gonna be fishing, but it'll be fishing wires, electrician.
man, you are the jack of all trades, man. I'm telling you, you fishing Carabel, you fishing Lanier, you're running wires. I mean,
Fishing 480.
yeah.
Get it, boy. Appreciate you
We
having us,
don't need
man.
a jack of all trades. So
That's a Jill of all
It's a
trades.
Jill of all
That's a
trades
Jill of
around
all
here.
trades.
All right. So speaking of that, we're gonna end with this. One more time, I'm gonna thank all of our partners: AA Graphics and Signs, Jill of All Trades Scenery, B&B Custom Outdoors, and Tangle Trout Cabin Rentals. Thank all those guys, and we hope you'll tune in to our next show. We appreciate everybody watching. Y'all have a good night.
Cool.